In a series of television appearances on Sunday morning, Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos made numerous statements that not only added confusion to the ongoing debate about school openings, but also raised a troubling question. Are the nation's leaders willing to sacrifice local teachers' lives to reopen schools? As coronavirus case numbers soar across the country, continuing to reach record highs in many states, the nation has begun to confront the uncomfortable questions of if and how schools should open in the fall. While there is near universal agreement on the need for the education system across America to provide classes to students, the question is how? Should schools open up physically, risking the spread of the highly communicable virus among students, teachers, and ultimately to those who they live with? Or should there be a greater emphasis on virtual and distance learning, which sacrifices a significant part of the educational experience, but has a better chance of keeping students, teachers and families safe? For their part, both President Trump and Vice President Pence have been adamant that schools plan on physically opening. Both men have been openly advocating for an in-person start to the school year and have been dismissive of the strict guidelines the Centers for Disease Control has issued to help school leaders make decisions about school openings. On Wednesday, President Trump tweeted that the CDC guidelines, intended to protect students and teachers from the deadly virus, are very tough and expensive guidelines for opening schools. The president also threatened to cut off federal aid to schools that don't reopen. During a White House coronavirus task force press briefing last week following the president's tweet, Vice President Pence similarly addressed the CDC guidelines. The president said today, "We just don't want the guidance to be too tough," Pence said. That's the reason why, next week, CDC is going to be issuing a new set of tools, 5 different documents that will be giving even more clarity on the guidance going forward. On Sunday morning, Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos reiterated many of the president's and the vice president's talking points. On Fox News Sunday, DeVos was unambiguous about the need to open schools. Parents are expecting that this fall their kids are going to have a full-time experience with their learning, and we need to follow through on that promise, she said. She added, "Students have fallen behind this spring, we need to ensure they're back in a classroom situation wherever possible and whenever possible, and fully functioning, fully learning." DeVos also doubled down on the president's threat to withhold funding. "American investment in education is a promise to students and their families," DeVos said. "If schools aren't going to reopen and not fulfill that promise, they shouldn't get the funds."